So I guess the first question, can you kind of go through a background of how you actually came about doing MyPeeps?
Yeah, man. It really has a lot more to do with lifestyle than a specific business case. I started doing this and using ads to build leads because it was one of the easiest ways, or one of the ways I found that I could do what I like to do, which I really like to help people buy stuff, but I don't really like to sell stuff, even though I have like a solid background in sales and technology sales. Um, the thing that I always felt really good about was a more consultative style and being able to help people buy stuff. And the best way that we could do that was by creating relationships with people. And so with other companies, I started to help them build email lists through just the way of being really genuine and honest with their audience so that they could start creating relationship. That was all because that to me was the easiest piece that allowed me to live the life I wanted to live, which is I mostly want to go surfing every day and hang out with my wife as much as possible. So that's kind of the background. And so it was kind of a long road to get there. But then to creating the course, I was I was in the middle of a project, and my buddy Ryan, I showed him what we were doing and how we were getting leads, and he's like, "Man, that's pretty amazing. Those results are amazing." And it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal to me because it's just what we do normally. And since it was so impressive, he's like, man, I really want you to talk about this. I really want you to teach it to your audience. And so he kind of twisted my arm until I was ready to teach it. Um, so we just kind of broke it down, and that's where it came from. It was really sort of by design. It's like somebody was asking, like, hey, I want to know more about this, and so we just did it, and it's so far so good.
Yeah, so was it kind of a live class you did or
Yeah, that's exactly how we did it. It's sort of an interview style live class. I took and broke down the theories behind and the principles behind everything that I do, and the things that I've used to spend probably 40 or 50, well, just about 40 or 50 million dollars over the last 10 years on this type of advertising, and just broke that down to as simple as possible, and then took it all the way down to what's the very first step, what's the next step, what's the next step. Um, and the way that we did that in the course is I took live campaigns. I actually created a brand new campaign and then walked through that exact campaign throughout each module of the course. So people could see me doing it live in the ad accounts, exactly what I was buying, the kind of results that we were getting, and exactly how simple it was to get set up.
cool? Um, yeah, so I guess one of the main questions is for me is I've been through a couple other things. Like I actually went through a challenge with Frank Kern, and that was really cool. And I actually ended up in some of his marketing material.
I
So
believe that with you for sure.
so I ended up getting a really good like cost per lead. It was like 16 cents. I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is good. He's like, dude, that's great. I was like, he's
Yeah, hey,
okay.
maybe you can be teaching the course.
Yeah, so but I guess in relation to other programs, how do you think that this one stands out?
I
What's the
think what's
key?
I kind of think what's unique about my peeps, I mean, aside from general take on the world might be a little bit different, but in contrast to most marketing programs, is that this one is very much focused on who you are as a person and how you connect with the audience on the other side. And that's very different than pure tactics and just thinking about if I do this and X plus Y equals Z, because that is the stuff that almost every program will teach you, and it's complete horseshit. It works maybe for the people that do it, but they never even. A lot of people that are really successful. I'm not trying to bag on people that are doing this or teaching it. A lot of them don't actually recognize what their secret sauce is,
Right.
and they almost always have it. And so they break it down to simple tactics, and the tactics aren't necessarily what are getting them the results. And so when I look at MyPeeps, or the way we sort of created this, was how can we give people the best, how can we get to that place, give you the secret sauce instead of just the tactics. um, and while there's plenty of tactics which would be similar to any other course, I think we've broken down pretty much everything that's inside my head, and you get to hear me thinking out loud through an actual campaign, or through actual campaigns, which I think sets it apart. And I mean, not to mention, a lot of people teach stuff that don't actually do it. And
Yeah.
obviously, I do this stuff.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. So I'm like, there's no way you got results from what you're telling me. There's more to the story.
There's
So
so often more to the story.
yeah, the course was great. Um, I, I really like, you know, some of the videos were a little longer. But being able to go through it and like, there's no fluff there, and that was really nice. But it really gets you to what you need to do to move forward. So
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And the goal was really to, like, how can I give you the first step so that you can go out and get a result right away? Because there's nothing more discouraging than starting a course and not being able to do anything with it. So we started with the absolute simplest form that is like 99.9% guaranteed.
yeah, yeah. So um, I, so when I guess there's two lines of thought here, but so in regard to my peeps in general, and I don't know how you'll split this up as far as editing, but um, what would you say the target market there is?
I think in general, I mean, one of the things that in general, I would say that the target is coaches, consultants, and course creators. Those are kind of that's the top level. Those are the people that generally understand that they know they need more leads, and they already sort of talk to consumers. They already kind of have an idea that I'm going direct to a consumer, uh, and want to sell them some stuff, or I can influence their lives. Um, Aside from that, it's exactly the same thing and the same tactics I've used with brick and mortar companies and e-commerce companies, uh, and virtually anybody else that has a customer. So it can work for just about everyone. It's probably most desirable, or people understand that, hey, this is the way that I'm doing it, for people that are sort of digital, like already
Yeah,
in the digital landscape and have some sort of direct response.
right. Um, okay, I guess that really answers both parts of my question. I was thinking more like, so from a client perspective and a licensee perspective. So I guess it really kind of answers all of that.
Yeah, I hope
Um,
so. I think so. I think from a client, from an end user's perspective, it's anybody that's selling online, really.
it's
Um,
really cool too that you said that, because I actually have a coach that I'm starting to work with now. Um, and we're about to start running ads. So I'm going to put this all into practice with him. He's got a small ad budget, and I told him, I was like, let's just run it and see what happens.
Fantastic, man. That's where the gold is.
Yeah, and so I'm not paying for the ads, and he's actually paying me a little bit to do it. So I get the upside of everything, really. So
That's the way to go, man. That's like a perfect deal.
I'm super excited. I'm ready to start doing this. So um yeah, I guess, I mean, I have a lot here that I wanted to cover, but you've covered a lot already. But so I guess, can you walk through, as a licensee, how would you go about selling this? I think that's probably the
This
main thing that I would want out of this.
Yeah, well, I understand the question. It's a big question. Um, and And I want to give you a really straight answer. So, okay, so I'll go two different directions here. First off, I think the biggest thing that you can do is take your own experience and leverage that. So use the course, use your experience, be your own testimonial, and go and talk about that from your perspective. I think this is where people get really caught up, is like, I have something to sell and now I want to go sell it. Instead of, I am who I am. I want to talk to people, and the reason that I use this will also be useful to them, because the people that I'm talking to they're somehow related to my circle, my experiences, and things that are important to me. So you being a tech guy and having that sort of experience, like leaning into that and talking to people from a technical perspective, or it could be something entirely different, just something that you love or that you're really excited about, that you're interested in. But it's your thing. And then relating the product to the experience that you have with that thing, that's how I would go about it. Like
Okay.
for
Yeah.
me, everything changed in my life when I related everything that I talked about to my desired lifestyle. Like I really wanted to create a life where I could go surfing as much as I want. And I reframed everything around that. So I talk about it a lot. And so I always talk about a lifestyle that's exactly the way I want my lifestyle to be. And by doing that, then everything that I do integrates into that. So when I talk about list building, it's in relationship to creating a lifestyle and helping people live a better life, because I have a solid core mission, which is to live an awesome life, help other people do the same. And so everything I talk about is that. And so that is the best way to sell any product. So that's the way I would approach selling MyPeeps also. And so from a tactical perspective, I would break down and I would look at your own results, find the best thing that you can pull out of your results based on what you were after, like the thing that you're interested in. So you get people. So now when you bring somebody into your lead mechanism, they're attached to something that you want to talk about, and you can have that interaction. And now the product just becomes something to fill that in and make it happen faster.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That makes perfect sense. And that's actually one of the things that I've been trying to do over the last year is exactly what you're saying. Is like I want to build my work around what I want to do, not the other way around. I don't want to do work and then have a little bit of time to do what I want.
Yeah, and it's a really scary thing to do, because especially we get down this rabbit hole, or you start doing things or learning from different people because they're telling you, do this thing and it'll get you this result. Well, if I get that result, then I'll be able to do this thing that I want to do. If you flip that on its head and you start doing the thing you want to do, the thing that supports it becomes much more clear. And it starts to give it constraint. So within the confines of, I'm going to live this way, in the confines of that, it's like, well, now really the things that I can do to support that only fit within here. And
Yeah.
now it narrows it down, and you don't have squirrel eyes and shiny objects
Right.
everywhere. It starts to narrow it down.
Yeah, I've been weeding out a lot of stuff. You and the other Travis and that group is the only people that I listen to right now. So
I'm pretty honored to be in that group, man. Thank you.
yeah, so well, I think it's well deserved since you've spent so much money getting there. So whether it's yours or not,
Exactly. And most of it's not, but it always
like,
left over enough. It leaves over enough to
but that says
I
a
want
lot
to do.
about you, your results though, because if people keep trusting you with that money, then I mean, there's something there, right?
That is
You're gonna
true.
get a really bad reputation really fast if you're just wasting people's money.
That's
So
that's the truth, man. It's one of the biggest compliments I think I've ever gotten, was on sales call. I was trying to talk somebody out of hiring me. Because I do very little like partnership client work anymore. Uh, and the thing the guy said to me over and over was like, man, I don't know why. I just trust you. And I think that's what it comes down to. You just care about people and you don't end up full of shit. And you don't try to tell stories. I think that's something else as you're designing your business and designing all of your list is to just not oversell anything. Just tell the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah, this coach that I was telling you about, that's kind of the same deal with him. He's like, I just, I trust everything you're doing. And like, I'll go in there and I'll tell him, like, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I'm like, we could spend $300 this month and it doesn't get any results. I said the long term, you got to dial in your offer and make sure that it's gonna work on the long term. I was like, your coaching's great, but that doesn't mean anything as far as like the offer is concerned. I mean, it kind of
Exactly.
does, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If somebody can't understand how to get it or how to use it and want to buy it, then it doesn't matter how great the product is.
Right. Yeah. So, um, I guess the other thing I was wanting to know is like, I know you and Jim are doing some stuff, right?
Hmm.
Is that something you can go into or not really?
Um, it's not a lot different than it's not a lot different than what we've already talked about or what's already part of the course. Essentially, we're using the same sort of pre-selling tools to pre-sell the same course, um, and that's about it. We're building cold traffic platforms, which eventually I'll share with licensees as well. We're just building out cold traffic campaigns that work for essentially similar type of offer. And we're using all of the tools, the same tools.
Cool. That sounds pretty cool. Um, so my path forward as far as so I got two different paths that I want to go down. I want to still keep going down the Google Doc thing because I think it'll kind of I'll run into that after I start getting the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want to keep doing that and start trying to get some sales through it. I haven't actually sold any of it just because like the non-responsiveness. Um, what would you recommend, I guess, as far as going forward to gain a lot of traction really fast?
The the fastest traction you're going to gain is probably in, like I said, taking something that you can a result that you've had or a result that you can lean into, bringing people into your circle that way and creating influence with them. Um, when you have like even if it's something as simple as I generated a hundred leads yesterday or in 24 hours doing this one thing, that could be something that's really interesting to people and it's something that's true because you've done it.
Right,
Um, and so you can bring people in based on that, tell them how you did it, or basically how it was done, or exactly what you did, and then give them the ability to kind of go deeper with you. Um, so if that works with the Google Doc offer, then do something like that. If it works better with MyPeeps, do it with that. Um, make your first offers based on what you can help them get just a little deeper, help them get a result, see the world differently. Because once they have that little shift and they see, oh, there's a better plan or there's something that's simple that I can do, then they'll start listening to you more. Once they listen, then they have the potential to get really excited um, and buy. So um, I think I don't know. I'm hard pressed to say this because I love the Google Doc offer as well. Um, I don't think it's an easy sell off the front.
yeah. It's not in my experience so far.
Um, it's because because it's a problem. It's a problem that people run up against later. They don't know, like you don't know you have that problem early, and
Right.
you don't know that what everyone else is going to tell you is wrong yet, um, because you have like fancy web page builder, and you can just use this sexy template and this and that, and it's just plug and play, and everybody tells you like just build a funnel, and you're one funnel away from everything you could ever want. Um, but they don't understand that the offer sucks. And really, the Google Doc offer is getting your offer straight,
Yeah.
and you can get it. And so you need to step back to where people are. It's like, do I have anyone to talk to? Is there an audience? Uh, do I have something to sell? And if you can show them, if you can show them a path there, like you can get there. I think you can get there much more quickly. So, and not to mention, I mean, the MyPeeps offer with the Shogun bonuses, like it's a much higher ticket offer than the Google Doc as
Yeah.
well. And so, I mean, even if you even if you have to get 500, if you're 1 out of 500 people buys $1,000 product, you're way better off than trying to get.
So I actually thought about just bundling in the Google Doc offer.
Yeah, you could probably do that, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a good upsell.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it fits in the next thing. Um, but you'll find out. Like that's the thing is once you start having more conversations with people, you'll see what people get excited about, what creates results, and not so much asking them as much as just putting different offers or different ways of telling them something and see who does things. Because people basically vote with their dollars or their actions and not so much with whatever the fuck to tell you. Uh,
Um, yeah, so I guess let's do you mind going through this real quick? Because
Not
here's
at all, man.
I wanted to go through kind of my thoughts. And so I actually see a lot of people getting a lot of good traction on LinkedIn. So I was actually considering doing kind of a trifecta and do like a link, basically email, but repurpose the emails to LinkedIn and start running ads on a small scale. Um, Currently, I don't have a big budget to do that. So, but what do you think about that, and how would you do that? If you would do that, how would you do it to maximize your uh, results, I guess?
Okay. First off, I
There's
probably
a
would.
lot there. Sorry.
Yeah. But so first things first, I personally probably wouldn't do it. I would go more eggs into one basket. Uh, so if I was going to, I would pick one channel that where I could generate leads, drive them to email, and then I would email those people, and I would just keep repeating that until I got the result I wanted, so as to not diffuse effort. If I were going to add one more piece to that, I would use like using a social channel would be a reasonable extra piece. And the way that I would use it is I would use content there and I would drive traffic to that content with my email list. So I think the email list is always the most important thing. And then sending traffic back to related content or more content in your social platform. So now you can influence this, and now you have both of them feeding each other. Um, so you're giving social juice from your email list. Um, if you had absolutely no budget, I would just start with the social. I would start with the social side and build your email list slowly. And I would still, the goal being, get them to your email list so that on a regular basis, you can send those people back to your social, give the social signals what they need so that that can grow. Um,
So, so what I'm hearing is you would probably just start running ads. Is that
Yeah, if I were starting from scratch, I would pick the ad platform where I'm most comfortable, that feels most like me, where I can connect with an audience that fits who I am. I would go all in on that one, and I would build email lists. I would send emails. And
Okay.
and then once I have that machine sort of dialed, because I want to get that to where it's like, okay, I've got a machine that gets me leads. These people are interactive. Some people buy stuff. Perfect. This is good. Now it's rolling, and now it's almost automatic. I can keep this thing going. Then I would repurpose stuff. I'd put it over here into the social channel. So in your case, LinkedIn, and I would build content that fits that platform, and then speak in a related way to one another so that you can send traffic back and you'll build the social platform faster.
So for the ads, would you be running them to a free offer just to get them signed up, or
If I mean, it depends on where you're going, but generally speaking, like I talk about in MyPeeps as well, the easiest way is to throw out the biggest net possible. The biggest net is going to be with something that's sexy and a free offer, whether that's a case study or something, just to get them in and to get them start talking to you. I would also put in some kind of upsell right after that,
yeah, right, yeah,
so that so you have the potential to self liquidate straight away. Um, and then make that like, and from my perspective, I think making a higher ticket offer right after is just as easy as a low ticket offer. And while it may not convert at a high percentage, more often than not, I've seen that it's more beneficial to have something that's a little bit, so that almost seems out of reach, so that it makes it easy for people to say no to. But the few people that say yes are bought in, or they have a really big problem. So I wouldn't try to, at least this wouldn't be my first test. This is like, again, this is my opinion. I would test everything. But if I were doing this, I wouldn't try to put a free offer for an opt-in and then a $7 upsell or a $29 product like right after that. That wouldn't be my first test. I would at least put something in that's 100, 200, $300. Maybe even if it were me and I was building a list for myself this same way, I would probably offer like a one-on-one session for 2,500 bucks, like right after that, or something like that. That was like, okay, this is kind of sexy, but it's high ticket, so it frames you. And the people that take it, great. Most people won't. This isn't for most people, but the people that it is for is great. And they may, at that point, it gives you a little higher stature and may get people to listen to you just a little bit more.
yeah. So, and you do that like right on. I mean, obviously I'll test it, but like just test uh, a high like $2,500 one-on-one offer.
That's what
Is
I mean.
that
It's
for
like
the
that's
free opt-in?
that's personally, I'm just thinking, I'm again kind of like the course, I'm thinking out loud. If I were building a list for myself from scratch to build this, like that's an idea that I would test probably first. Because I have a good pitch for, I mean, people have paid me $5,000, $10,000 for an hour of time to look into their things and help them build a campaign. And so so there is value there, and that's where I would go. Because I don't need to sell very many of it to
Right.
liquidate the
Yeah.
course. If I sell one, maybe I've paid for 2,500 leads or 100 or 1,500 leads. That could work out. If you have, like, if it's more comfortable, like lean into whatever feels right to you and what works for you, because this is all like, so much of this stuff is personal. And the hard thing, entrepreneurship 100% is the most profound and difficult personal development experience anyone can go through. Like, you're going to learn more about yourself, but the more you lean into you and you do the things that, like, oh, this, I think this would be really cool, and just do it, it's funny how often it works when people do what they really want to do. Um, One of the things that I find more with students than anything else is that people don't say what they want to say. Whether you're talking about ads or emails or anything else, they want to do marketing or they want to write ads or they want to do this. But what did you really want to say? And if you say that in your own voice, like 9 times out of 10, it just works. Plus, it's easy and it's a lot closer to, oh man, I just believe you.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't mess around with people. Like I don't try to be somebody I'm not and like pretend that I am have everything 100% figured out, right?
I,
Like, nobody ever has it fully figured out anyway, right? Like,
Nobody has it figured out.
and so, and then there you introduce all these changes and stuff, and like half of your life is just a big experiment,
At
or more than
least,
half.
at
Like,
least.
yeah,
So just lean into all of that stuff and just try it. Don't try to make it a pitch. Like that's probably the biggest advice. Like anything comes out of this, don't try to make any of this a pitch. If you're on social media, if you're trying to get someone onto your list, if you're trying to sell a product, don't make it a pitch. Just say what you want to say. If you're trying, if you're selling something to somebody, look at it like you're just recommending this to a friend. Like you're not going to push them, but you genuinely want what's best for them. And I believe this is the best thing for you.
right, yeah,
And if that's true, if that's not true, stop doing it.
yeah. I do. It makes me sick to my stomach whenever, anytime that I've even like hedged on doing stuff like that. I'm like, no, that's not me. Like, I can't do that.
It's also really hard. You have to get good as a marketer to do that. And it's not very hard to be human if you'll let yourself.
Yeah. That makes total sense. So, man, yeah. So that I actually love that. Like, I now I just need to figure out like the offer. So, but I have plenty of stuff to draw from. Like, I have technology stuff. I have a little bit of marketing stuff that I've done. That I've done pretty well with it whenever I've applied myself. So, um,
Yeah, 16-cent leads are pretty impressive.
that's I was I had not done any of it before, and so I was like, I don't know, is this good? And it's like, yeah, it's great. So, so
Fantastic.
yeah, I've had some success. I just need, I guess, like you said, lean into it, and I guess I need to figure out a $2,500 offer. Um,
Well, even a two, but just just remember, like I said that for me, and that would be a high ticket offer. There's nothing, it wouldn't be any different um, to do like a $250 offer. Um, it just depends on where you're at and who you're talking to. Um, but like a $5 offer is never going to be high ticket to anybody, and it's not going to raise a whole bunch of status um, or get. Or I don't think it's that interesting. Like if you don't have any skin in the game, like are you really in the game?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so I don't know. I think it's a try it all, man. But I'm around
So
too, dude. Like I'll help you dial this in.
sorry, say that again.
I said I'll help you dial it in. We can
Oh, cool.
we can work this
So
out.
what about this? As far as a one-on-one offer, like, is that something I could just take the MyPeeps process and show them and like say, hey, I'll help you implement this at
Yeah,
one-on-one?
shit. Yeah. I mean, if you've gone through it, you've done it, man. That probably like you own it. Like now it's you.
So I thought about that the other day and I forgot about it. And then sitting here listening to you, I was like, oh wait, maybe that would be a good one-on-one. Like, just offer it as a service.
Yeah, dude, that's the best offer. And that, honestly, that's probably the fastest way.
And it's
Um,
gonna
like,
it'll start snowballing. Like if I can prove that I can do it, right? Implement it for somebody else, myself, somebody else. Like there's my testimonials. Like all of it compounds.
yes, yes, dude, that's the breakthrough that we needed. Is done for you wins. Like that is hands down where to start. Almost nobody wants to do it because they think that long term that's not what they want to do. You don't know that. Like doing some of this stuff can be really fun. I mean, I still do this stuff because there are projects and partnerships that I have fun with. They make me a
Yeah,
bunch of money, which is cool. But honestly, I would probably do any of those projects that I work on. I would probably do them for free because they're fun.
right. Yes. That's what I want too. I want to have fun on my projects and anything I'm doing. And so far, like the stuff I've done in marketing, like it's super fun, man. I like, and the call that we had today, this call, is super fun. The call we had with Jim, that was awesome, man. I like it. So,
Yeah, I would do this stuff all day, every day. So I dig this. Like you can talk about this all day long, and that makes it that makes it fun. That's when you're on the right track. Like then you just you just keep doing the thing. You reach more people and you help more people, and doggone it, somehow it turns into money. It's
yeah.
weird. That's weird.
So, well, yeah, we're at our time. But is there anything else that you would like to add or thoughts, whatever?
I think that's really, dude, I think we hit on the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is lean into who you are, focus on what you want life to look like on the other side, and how you can simplify the way to get there. And then all this other stuff sort of starts to fall into place. Um, and with list building, it's the same thing because once you built a list and you have a direction, like you always have something to talk about. And then when you attract people and they listen to you, they're actually listening to you and not some bullshit that you're making up. And it just starts to be a lot more fun. And then before you know it, you're on calls like this and everything's fun.
So that actually was I was like, man, like I'm starting to get all this stuff that I'm doing that's actually fun to do. I'm not making any money from it yet, but like it's fun. Like I love having the calls on the Ronin group. I like having these calls, so it's great. Um, so plan for me, I guess, uh, do the work for my peeps. Start talking about the results I'm getting. Um, start running some advertising.
Piece of cake.
That sound right?
Sounds good, man. Yeah. And
So I'll start putting together like a kind of an offered doc for the like one-on-one, using the Google Doc. So
that there you go.
do the one-on-one in the Google Doc, so that way I have that to sell as well. So
Dude, I love it.
all
This
right.
is great. I think this is useful. This is useful for me. So I super appreciate it. Thank you for the time
Yeah,
and
it's
thoughtful question.
totally equal for me. There's some things that I caught in here that I was kind of thinking about. There's some things that I wasn't thinking about at all, but most of it I was kind of already thinking. But like having you validate that, and you've gone through this many times, so I trust your judgment. Um,
Thanks, man.
and I'll start throwing the spaghetti.
Right on. Stoked, man. I'm excited. I'll send you the recording for this right now. Um, the raw bit of it with the transcripts and stuff, so you have that straight
Cool.
away. And then it may take me some days or a week to get it edited because I have to travel this week.
No, it's cool. I'm not in a hurry. I got plenty of work to do, so.
But hopefully, but you'll have this, and you, like I said, if there's clips, just cut them out, use whatever you want.
Yeah, totally like to touch base again though once I start getting going. Um,
For sure. Let's,
and I know you're easy to get a hold of, so
yeah.
somewhat like
Hey,
you
man.
answer emails. So
Yeah. Well, and I love, like I said, I love this stuff. Like I really do like this stuff. And I will get better at being around in the group as well. When we have like we need more people doing things in order for that group to become more active because there's not a lot like I'm not the kind of guy that's going to push a bunch of shit on people. I like
yeah.
to I like to help pull you along.
So this call actually is one of the reasons I wanted to do it is to start. I really want to help you all with the group as well, like just kind of get some results out there and start getting some engagement and stuff. So
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's super helpful for me.
yeah,
That's not my wheelhouse. If if you don't know social and that kind of interaction, not my wheelhouse. This is like in real life, my wheelhouse is people in real life. Like I like to be in masterminds with groups of people. I like one-on-one. I you know, I'm an
yeah,
old dude, so social media never made quite so much sense. So behind a screen,
yeah.
it's just
I really don't like social that much. Actually, I don't like it at all. I suffer through it because it feels like a necessary evil, I guess.
yeah. Well, I think it's less necessary than everybody else makes it, and that's one of the reasons that I'm excited about. That makes me excited about my peeps and list building is because we're kind of teaching people a different way to have influence than the traditional method of go post everything online all the time and live in public and do this and that. But like, no, go and create an audience specific to what you're doing and where you can have a bit more of an intimate relationship. I think
Right.
to
Yeah.
me, email feels a lot more like that because it is a one-on-one communication instead of one to everybody. And
Yeah,
um,
so far I'm liking email. I like it a lot. Um, and like DMs, I really like DMs. And then like one-on-one video, love that. And then
cool.
like smaller group video, uh,
Yeah, that's
up
kind of
to like, I don't know, 50 or so is probably, then it starts getting a little high for me. But
Yeah, well, then you can't really have that, you don't really get that personal level of interaction, and it's hard for people, you just get lost. It just gets lost.
yeah.
So I dig it, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for
Thanks
the
again,
thought.
Travis. I really
You're,
appreciate it.
you're welcome, man. I'm in your corner all the time.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All
Yeah.
right, see you,
Safe
Donnie.
travels too.